speculation rife in their eyes. Edric, the head groom, emerged from the stables to take the dun and deployed his underlings among Adam's men. "Welcome, my lord," he said with a half-moon grin. "It has been a long time." Having dismounted, Adam stared around the busy bailey, which looked just as it always had. The smith's hammer rang out clear and sweet from the forge against the curtain wall. A soldier's woman was tending a cooking pot, tripoded over an open fire, and the savoury steam drifted tantalisingly past his nostrils, reminding him that he hadn't eaten since well before prime. Hens pecked underfoot, doves from Countess Judith's coat cooing and pirouetting among them. A curvaceous serving girl carried a tray of loaves across the ward and was whistled at by a group of off-duty soldiers playing dice and warming their backs against a sunny timber wall. "A long time, Edric," he agreed with a sigh and a weary smile. "Is Lord Guyon here?" "Out hunting, sir, and the Lady Judith with him." Edric looked apologetic and then brightened. "Master Renard is here, though, and Mistress Heulwen." The smile froze upon Adam's face. He set his hand to his stallion's reins as though he would mount up again, but then glanced round at his men. He could hear their groans of relief and see the way they stretched stiff muscles and rubbed sore backs. They were tired, having ridden a bone-jarring distance, and it would be foolish and grossly discourteous to ride out now that their presence was known. A young man with a stork's length of leg came striding towards him from the direction of the mews, stripping a hawking gauntlet from his right hand as he advanced. He had pitch-black hair and strong features just beginning to peer out of childhood's unformed roundness. It took Adam a moment to realise that this was Renard, Lord Guyon's third son, for when last encountered the lad had been a lanky 14-year-old with less substance than a hoe handle. Now, although still on the narrow side, his limbs were beginning to thicken out with pads of adult muscle, and he moved like a young cat. "We thought you'd gone for good." Renard greeted Adam with a boisterous clasp on the arm and a total lack of respect. His voice was husky and a trifle raw, revealing that it had but recently broken. "So did I, sometimes," Adam answered wryly and took a step back. "Holy Christ, but you've grown." "So everyone keeps telling me. But not too over a beating, Mamma always adds." Renard laughed merrily, displaying white, slightly uneven teeth. "She's taken my father hunting because it's the only way she can get him to relax his responsibilities for a day, short of spiking his wine, and she's done that before now. There's only myself and Heulwen here. She'll be right glad to see you." Adam lowered his gaze. "Is her husband here too?" They went up the 4-building steps and entered the great hall. Sweet, scented rushes cracked underfoot, and sunlight shone through the high window spaces and illuminated the embroidered banners adorning the walls. Renard bade a servant bring wine, then tilted his visitor a speculative look from narrow, dark grey eyes. "Ralph was killed at midsummer by the Welsh." "God rest his soul." Adam crossed himself, the words and gesture emerging independent of his racing mind. Renard grimaced. "It was a bad business. The Welsh had been biting at our borders like breeding fleas on a dog's back ever since it happened. Warrin de Mortimer chanced on the attack, drove the Welsh off, and brought what was left of Ralph home. Heulwen took it badly. She and Ralph had quarrelled before he rode out, and she blames herself." The maid approached them with a pitcher and 2 cups, her eyes flickering circumspectly over Adam. He stared through her, a muscle bunching and hollowing in his cheek. The wine was Rhenish, rich and smooth, and he almost retched, remembering Heulwen's wedding day and how he had drunk himself into a stupor on this stuff, and Lady Judith had forced him to be sick in order to save his life. Afterwards, the incident had faded into a memory, recalled with wry chuckles by everyone except himself. Sometimes he wished that they had been sufficiently charitable to let him die. Renard sat down on a fur-covered stool before the hearth, dangled his cup between his knees, and said disgustedly, "De Mortimer's been buzzing around Heulwen like a frantic wasp at an open honey jar. It's only a matter of time before he formally asks my father for her."